Welcome back to Myth Detective. Ares, the true-born son of King Zeus and Queen Hera, the legitimate prince of war. Athena, the miraculous brainchild of Zeus, born fully formed from her father's head. They are the two gods of war, locked in an eternal rivalry. For centuries, the official record, written primarily by poets and philosophers from Athens, a city devoted to Athena, has been clear. Athena, the wise strategist, is superior to Ares, the mindless brute. But what if that record is not history, but propaganda? What if we've been misinterpreting a warrior's profound restraint for a brute's weakness? This is a core tenet of our investigations. History is written by the victors. Today, we challenge that victory narrative. We will investigate the controversial theory that Ares is the far more powerful god, and he deliberately holds back because his true, unrestrained power is too terrifying and apocalyptic to unleash upon the world. The case for Ares begins now. The primary accusation against Ares' power, the exhibit A in every argument for Athena's supremacy, comes from one single event: the Trojan War. The official story, as told in Homer's Iliad, paints him as an incompetent and cowardly brute. He charges into battle driven by pure bloodlust, only to be humiliatingly wounded by a mortal, the hero Diomedes, who was guided by Athena. He then flees the battlefield, screaming a roar as loud as 10,000 men, and runs back to Olympus to complain to his father. This single, embarrassing event has been used for millennia as the definitive proof of Athena's superiority. It seems like an open nunshot case, a clear victory for strategy over strength. But for a detective, an open and shut case is often the one hiding the biggest secrets. To understand the truth, we must look beyond the battlefield and analyze the very nature of their power and the politics of their divine family. Our first piece of evidence is the very nature of their divine power. Athena's power is indirect and contingent. She is a goddess of strategy. Strategy, by definition, is the art of overcoming a stronger opponent through cleverness, or of applying limited force with precision. Her power requires careful planning, heroic pawns to enact her will, and deceptive tricks like the Trojan horse. Her entire methodology is based on finding and exploiting a weakness. But what if an opponent's true power is so overwhelming that it has no weakness? Ares' power is direct and absolute. He is the physical embodiment of war itself. He doesn't need a plan to win. His very presence is the overwhelming force of battle. The need for strategy is, in itself, an admission of limited power. A hurricane does not strategize. A volcano does not make plans. They simply erupt with a power that no amount of cleverness can withstand. That is the nature of Ares' true, terrifying power. Now, Let's re-examine the crime scene at Troy. Ares was fighting on a mortal battlefield, bound by the unwritten cosmic rules of divine engagement. His sister, Athena, cheated. She used a mortal pawn, Diomedes, cloaked herself in the helm of invisibility, and rode with him into battle. Ares was prepared for a duel with a mortal. He was not prepared for a cowardly ambush by his own sister. His scream was not one of pain from a mortal wound, but of pure shock and betrayal, and his retreat. Consider the alternative. What would have happened if Ares, the true god of raw power, had decided to unleash his full, unrestrained rage in that moment? He wouldn't have just killed Diomedes. His divine power, would have incinerated the entire Greek army, shattered the walls of Troy, and boiled the rivers of the Scamander plain. He didn't retreat from a mortal. He retreated from a situation where the only way to win was to commit an act of apocalyptic overkill and break the cosmic rules himself. He chose restraint over annihilation. So the evidence suggests a new, shocking verdict. Athena, the strategist, is a master of winning games. She finds the loopholes, exploits the weaknesses, and guides her pawns to victory in controlled conflicts. But Ares is not a player in the game. He is the game of war itself, a force of nature so powerful that he must constantly hold back to avoid annihilating everything. His supposed weakness, his restraint on the plains of Troy, is the greatest evidence of his terrifying, apocalyptic strength. It is the strength of a nuclear deterrent. Its true power is shown not when it is used, but precisely when it is held back. And this brings us to a final, brutal truth of mythology and warfare. In the face of absolute power, all schemes are fleeting. So, the final question goes to you, the jury. Who do you believe is truly more powerful? The strategist who needs a plan to win, or the god whose raw power makes all plans meaningless? Let us know your verdict.